seated us and said, "Oh, the waiter, she'll be right with you. You guys will be on your way." I said, "Well, we're kind of in a hurry." She goes, "Oh yeah, well, no problem. She'll be right here." And 5 minutes goes by. You know how it is, right? Tapping your toe. I know what I want. Come on, hurry up, get over here. I'm gonna make an order. Doesn't show up. Another couple minutes go by, and she finally shows up, and I just ripped her. Like, hostess said we were like getting out of here. There's no way it's gonna happen, is it? And so we put our order in. My son goes, he's 16. "What are you doing, Dad?" And I was busted big time on the spot. And I thought, one more test right there. And what do kids do? They don't really do as you say, they do as you do. So I said, "You're right, son, I was wrong." And she came back a little bit later, and I said, "You know what, I got to apologize. I was completely out of line, inappropriately acting, and I want to apologize." And I don't think I fully made amends, but I tried. And it was just a little test, right? A little instantaneous test that I got an F on at that point. The good news about God's tests and these little tests we have, these little instantaneous or constant tests, God wants us to get an A, and that's your fill in the blank. God wants to give us an A, right? He's not an instructor who wants to fail his students. He wants to give A's away. No test or temptation that comes your way is beyond the course of what others have had to face. 1 Corinthians 10:13. All you need to remember is that God will never let you down. He'll never let you be pushed past the limit. He'll always be there to help you come through it. So Troy, that's your encouragement, buddy. He's there to help you come through it. He's got a plan. More good news is that, here's the other good news. God notices when we pass, right? He notices everything about us, but He notices when we pass a test, and He makes plans to reward us in eternity. Blessed is the man who perseveres under trial, because when he has stood the test, he will receive the crown of life that God has promised to those who love Him. Our second metaphor today is that life on earth is a trust. Life on earth is a trust. Life on earth is a test, and life on earth is a trust. And it starts with the promise that God owns what? Everything. I love the word everything. It really doesn't leave a lot of subjective discussion. Now, why do I struggle with that? I'm quick to want to grab ownership. I'm probably the only one in the room that suffers from that. But I'm quick to want to grab ownership. And I'm reminded every time that I don't own it. I do own it. He owns everything. The world and all that is in it belong to the Lord. The earth and all who live on it are His. And we see many Bible stories, obviously, that illustrate this metaphor. The one that I think is the one that we all can relate to, maybe most, is the story in the parable of the talents. And the quick high level is you've got a master who takes a long trip, travels for quite some time, and during his absence he asks 3 of his servants to step up and take ownership of some talents that he provides to them. To one he gives 5, to one he gives 2 talents, and the third he gives 1 talent, right? You know where the story goes. He returns after his long journey. He says, "Hey gang, give me a quick report. Give me a quick update." And the first guy who had 5 talents steps up and said, "Hey master, I've turned these 5 into 10. I hope you'll be pleased." He goes, "Absolutely. Absolutely. Well done, good and faithful servant. You've been faithful with a few things. I'm going to put you in charge of many. Come and share the master's happiness." The second guy gives his report. "Turn my 2 talents into 4, I've doubled." Same response from the master. Third guy steps up. "Hey, my outcome's a little different. I kind of took you to be a shrewd guy. Didn't want to risk, blowing it. So I more or less just stuck my 1 talent in a cookie jar and I buried it in the backyard. And here's your 1 talent back." You guys know what happens, right? The master goes postal. And he says, "Hey, you're out, man. Give me that 1 talent. I trusted you with this. You did nothing. Give me that 1 talent. I'm giving it to the guy that's got 10. And he casts him out. So at the end of our life, we're going to be evaluated, and that we'll be rewarded according to how we handle what God entrusts us. And the blanks there, what I hope, anyway, in my meeting with the Master someday, what I hope I hear, what I hope the ultimate response from the Master is, first one is an affirmation. An affirmation that, well done, good and faithful servant. I hope I hear that. And secondly, I hope he promotes me. So the second blank is promotion. You've been faithful with a few things. I want to put you in charge of many things. And then the third that I hope I hear is that sound of celebration and excitement and joy and having a party. So the third blank is celebration. Come and share in my happiness. I've got, there's countless stories of people that have been influential in my life. One that I want to share just briefly with you because it had a circling effect on some areas I've invested time. Talent treasure is a gentleman named Mike Fox. I don't know if many of you know Mike here in the room. He's the founder of the Global Orphan Project. He used to be called C3 Missions International. They was part of a great energy aggregation organization called Energy down in the Plaza. Was able to step away from the business. Has been extremely blessed and found that he just could not reconcile why he had so much and so many had so few, such little. And he's really devoted his life to now serving orphans around the world, chiefly in Haiti. And I know there's men in this room and women in this room who've been involved with the Global Orphan Project and know Mike and know his heart and know his passion. And about a little over a year ago, I was in Haiti with Mike, Bob, and maybe some others in the room. I'm not sure who all is here today, but we had the great fortune of being able to follow along and see and touch and feel evidence of a guy's passion and how he's leveraged that passion and his time, talent, treasure to influence other people to do the same. And we went to visit, I think we encountered probably 400 to 500 kids on that trip. It was an extended trip, a little longer than normal. And it was phenomenal. And you know, we talked about test and trust. And sidebar is I have a tough time understanding how something so terrible can happen that people could with earthquake. It's hard to reconcile that in the spirit of a test. And now they're getting flooded. Now they're getting early monsoons and rains and flooding. And it just doesn't match up. And that's when you got to go, this is yours, God. This is yours. But on our trip down there, I've, of course, had the good fortune of sharing bunk space with Bob. Of course, a different bed. But another gentleman named Mike Helmuth. And Mike forever has been, you guys may know Mike, he was one of the founders of Red Development here in town. And he has forever been an avid supporter of Young Life. And we were just talking, my kids have been plugged into Young Life. I've got 4 kids between the ages of 11 and 16, and my 3 oldest are now very active in that. And, sometimes I'm a little slow. In fact, most times I'm a little slow. I'm going, they're eating it up. They're loving it. They're passionate about it. They, going, thank God, but I'm kind of also going, maybe that's a place we could help shore up a little bit. And I guess where I'm going with the story is that I found my trip to Haiti, as much as anything, kind of opened my eyes to opportunities right in my own backyard. And others really enjoy going to Haiti once a month or a couple times a month. I don't think that's my sweet spot, candidly, and that's okay. But I found through that trip that I had a big passion to help support what my kids love, but also to help influence the lives of their friends and their parents right in my backyard. So anyway, Sarah and I talked about it, and we really decided that a great investment for us would be to, Do it right in our own, just give it away. Not sure why it's such an emotional deal, but we just kind of turned our eyes toward what's going on in our neighborhood. We built what is called the Clubhouse for Young Life out in the Call Valley area. We live west of town. It serves kind of the Bay Surf Honor, hopefully the DeSoto areas will open up to it as well. And we've been blessed in big ways, and we just felt like that was a place we could invest treasure and time and really influence the lives of a lot of people in our community. So we've physically invested, but we've also, through time and effort, invested. And hopefully it will pay big dividends. We've seen some good evidence of that, some affirming evidence of that. So, life on earth is a test, it's a trust. And the third one is life on earth is a temporary assignment. Temporary assignment. Temporary home. The Bible, again, kind of that owner's manual, right? It's got some examples in it. Some pictures of how to assemble the parts. It says there are plenty of references to how brief and temporary our time is. It refers to our lives as a mist, a fast runner, a wisp of smoke, a shadow. The nature of our lives as being alien, pilgrim, foreigner, stranger, visitor, traveler, all infer brief encounters, right? Brief periods of time. In the book, Rick infers that we should carry a spiritual green card. We're really not, it's really in our home. We might want to get a green card to make sure we're reminded that we're really foreigners, right? I've got a little picture, not much of a picture, a line with a dot on it. It's one of my favorite illustrations that Randy Alcorn amplifies in his book, Treasure Principle. About are we living for the dot or are we living for the line? That dot represents the period of time we're here on earth. And the line is the continuum of eternity. And I always like to use the metaphor of I-70 between Kansas City and Denver because it feels like eternity. And our lives, somewhere along that continuum of eternity, is the overpass in Abilene. That's about how long our lives are as far as our existence on this earth, if you want to look at that stretch of highway as eternity. Peter said, "Friends, this world is not your home. It's not your home. Don't make yourselves cozy in it. Don't indulge your ego at the expense of your soul." And our identity is in eternity. That's the blank there to fill in. Our identity is eternity, and our homeland is in heaven. Earth is not our ultimate home. Stay with me here, because I think this is the central point of this. In fact, I think this is why I like this so much. And Troy and I were talking about it as we were going through the chuck wagon line there. That this helps to me explain why I think we feel disappointment, why we feel difficulty, why we have adversity, sorrow. Because this is at home, right? If we were right now, we're in, let's pick a country, Germany. I don't know how to speak German. I can't read German. If I were in Germany right now, I would be frustrated, disappointed, discouraged, because I couldn't communicate. I couldn't get my way around. I probably couldn't read a map to figure out where I was. Maybe some of you have been in places like that without somebody who was there to escort you around. We're not home yet. And maybe this also explains why, we see prayers that don't feel like they're being fulfilled. Prayers go unanswered. God's promises don't seem fulfilled. We're not home. We're not home. And I think this hit home for me recently. A friend of mine who I went to college with, a fraternity brother of mine at KU, he is not a guy that I stayed in touch with after college. He was actually in a pledge class older than me, so I was never really, tight buds. But he's 46, and he fought a long battle with cancer and passed this past January. And he got it, though. He was one of the guys in the fraternity I remember walking the walk with his faith. And at a time in my life where I wasn't. What faith? But Mark was, and Mark passed this January, and we followed his journey in battle on Caring Bridge, and he posted and kept everybody who followed his health issues on that. And his wife posted a message after his services that said we are actually alert people of the services, and she said we're having a going home celebration on such and such a day. And I thought, bam, that's it. And Mark's going home. I'm still here in this foreign land. Mark's going home. So we fix our eyes, in 2 Corinthians 4:18, we fix our eyes not on what's seen, but what is unseen. What is seen is temporary, but what is unseen is eternal. We won't be in heaven, I'm reading right out of the notes here just so you can follow along. We won't be in heaven for 2 seconds before we cry out, why did I place so much importance on the things that were so temporary? What was I thinking? Why did I waste so much time, energy, money, and emotion on things that won't last? I want to share a